Hello, my name is Rohit with Freedom Flow Empire, and as you know, I bring you no BS sales content that increases your conversion rates effectively today. And today I have a very special video, and it might be kind of triggering, and that is why you should not listen to the big sales gurus, the Grant Cardones, Jordan Belfort, Sam Ovens, etc. And it's not for the reason you think. Now, before we get into it, I just want to say, like this video, so that we can get it in front of more people, so I can keep releasing content like this, so you can get your dose of no BS sales information in the future. Subscribe, turn on the bell for notifications, and if you really enjoy the content, join our free Facebook group for even more exclusive content. It's totally free, no strings attached, and I would love to see you in there. And I just made a big claim. I said, do not listen to, Jordan Belfort and Grant Cardone and etc. And let me rephrase that. I'm not saying don't listen to them. I love those guys. I got a Grant Cardone, thing right here. And yes, some of these sales gurus are better than others, but here's a thing you need to understand and be careful with. If you are a coach or consultant that, you work with other coaches, you work with other business owners, you help, businesses get more leads, you have a very unique problem. And that is, I was talking to my buddy Eric, and he's a performance coach for entrepreneurs. And if you're interested in that, click the link in my bio. Very good very good friend of mine. Very effective. I worked with him. You should work with him too. But he was telling me the other day, he's doing his cold outreach on LinkedIn, etc. And he came from Sam Ovens' course. And that course, he said, it taught him everything. It got him good at sales, gave him the script, etc. But as he's going through his sales process with these coaches, with these business owners, with other agency owners, he noticed something, and that is, they kind of learn from these gurus as well. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's really how you should get started. Everyone needs to get started somewhere. But you notice that as he's going through a sales script, a Sam Ovens sales script with these coaches, he can feel that they know the question that he's going to ask next. And you might have experienced this too. If you're in the range of you're doing 10K a month or more and you're reaching out to all these other coaches and consultants and service providers, it's almost, you guys are using the same script. Like when they close people, they use the same script as you. So they know exactly what you're going to say. If they give you this objection, they know how you're going to handle it, blah, 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 And I've experienced this too. I remember when I started making some money, I wanted to join the mentorship program and start, it was actually for an e-commerce thing, and I wanted to create a second source of income. I get on the phone and it's just, all right, Rohit, at the end of this call, you're either going to give me a yes or a no. You're not going to give me a, I'll think about it, or a maybe. And it's like, all right, you're using Dan Locke's script. Okay, I've been through all these sales programs. So, I'm on my computer, I pull up the Dan Locke script, and I just kind of track with him. He asks me the exact questions, or kind of makes certain people, the people that are probably the most qualified to work with you, unclosable, because they know exactly what you're doing. They know the process. And it really comes down to relying on a script and relying on the same script that these, gurus are giving. And because of that, it makes it more difficult than it has to be. And I want to bring you back to it. And again, I'm not saying do not learn from Jordan Belfort. I've learned a lot from him. I'm not saying to ignore those guys, but do not overly rely on them and only follow one guru. So, okay, that's great and all. After training dozens of business owners how to improve their sales processes, after training, my clients in an agency and their salespeople and their sales teams, after creating webinars, closing, raising capital for real estate deals, for closing rev share agreements, and really running the whole gamut of sales, is you need to learn the general principles of influence. So what do you do instead? Okay, Rohit, that's great and all, but what do I do instead of relying on a script? And that is learn a general sales process. Learn the sequence. Know which boxes you need to check, what you need to do to build up the emotional capital you need to close, to know how to handle objectives proactively, and just generally learn the rules of influence. What principles do you need to understand? What is it that the prospect needs? And when I say that, not just what do you say, what service do they need, but what emotions do they need to see from you? They need you to have more conviction. Do they need more clarity? Do they need more certainty? Do they need a more fun business partner? What exactly is it that you can do to close the deal? And you might be like, okay, that's great, but How do I practically do it? And what I'm going to say is weird is, again, don't just rely on these sales gurus, but find people in your local area or even online. We got this great digital community that are not from these courses. Maybe find someone that didn't learn from Traffic and Funnels and Sam Ovens and Jordan Belfort and, the guys copying and pasting their stuff. For example, one of my biggest sales mentor was literally someone I met out at a bar one night. I was out in my college town. Somehow I ran into the #2 sales guy, door-to-door salesman for all of Verizon in the United States. I just ended up talking to him. I exchanged phone numbers and I went back and forth with him. He gave me so much knowledge and information that no one else was doing, that when I got on the phone with these guys, you could tell they have like their sales barrier. All your free consults and free audits and whatnot. Like everyone knows the sales call, and you could see the body language change when you're doing it on Zoom. You can see that they're actually getting engaged. You can ask the questions and properly, hit their, go under the defenses. That's really where the magic happens, because that, you go from being able to close like, maybe just a $2,500 sale to being able to raise capital for bigger deals you want to do, to being able to do rev share agreements and take equity in people's companies, and just in general, get what you want, command higher prices, not have to deal with pesky objections when you handle them in front. And, I've learned from many other people like that. My main mentor, he doesn't have a course on sales, right? His name's Mikhail. I've learned from other salespeople and other success people with track records. And that's what I suggest you find. Find someone who's not a big guru, who has a very, very long track record of success. And if you're in a company, find the best sales guy. Go buy him coffee, go buy him dinner one day, and just pick his brains, learn from him. When you combine that with some of the principles of what these gurus teach you, not just their script, that's where you're gonna start to see some magic happen. So if you enjoyed this content and you wanna see more about exactly what those lessons that I learned from these, all these mentors I've had over the last couple years in sales, and if you wanna meet some of them yourself, simply subscribe to this video and then check out the free Facebook group that's linked in this bio. There you can meet some of my sales mentors, you can meet other great salespeople, you can network with them, and also get exclusive content dropped in there much more frequently than I drop on YouTube. So if you're really serious about sales, join the Facebook group. Otherwise, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next week.